What if 5 children vanished from their home one Christmas night, with no trace of their bodies, no signs of a fire consuming them, and no closure for over 75 years? What really happened to the Sodder children? It was Christmas Eve, 1945, in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, George and Jenny, along with their 10 children, had just finished celebrating. The air was filled with laughter, joy, and the warmth of holiday cheer. But by morning that joy would be replaced with horror. At around 1 o'clock in the morning on December 25th, a fire erupted in the Sodder family home. George and Jenny escaped the blaze along with 4 of their children, but 5 others, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were never seen again. Or were they? According to official reports, the 5 children were presumed dead in the fire. But here's the mystery. No human remains were ever found in the ashes. Not a single bone, not a single tooth. Let's go back a bit. George Sodder was no ordinary man. An Italian immigrant who built a successful trucking business in the United States, George was known for his strong opinions, particularly his anti-Mussolini stance. He was vocal, and in a tight-knit Italian community like Fayetteville that made enemies. Weeks before the fire, strange incidents began happening. A man came to the house offering work, but suddenly warned George that the house would go up in smoke one day. Another man tried to sell life insurance, and when George declined, he snapped, saying, "Your house is going to burn, and your children are going to be destroyed." Odd things continued. The family noticed a car parked along the highway with someone seemingly watching the children as they returned from school. George's truck, which he used daily, suddenly wouldn't start the morning after the fire, though it had worked perfectly the day before. Was it sabotage? On the night of the fire, Jenny Sodder stayed up late with the children. Around midnight, she received a mysterious phone call. A woman's voice asked for someone who didn't live there. Jenny later recalled hearing laughter and clinking glasses in the background, almost like a party. By 1 o'clock in the morning, the fire started. George and Jenny managed to get out, but the staircase to the children's upstairs bedrooms was engulfed in flames. George tried to rescue them. He broke a window, cutting himself badly. He tried to reach his ladder. It was missing. He tried to drive his truck to the window to climb inside. It wouldn't start. Desperation turned into disbelief as the house burned to the ground in just 45 minutes. But, the mystery only deepened in the aftermath. Firefighters didn't arrive until 8 in the morning, which was nearly 7 hours later. The fire chief, F.J. Morris, claimed he couldn't drive the fire truck himself and, had to wait for others. The official cause was declared faulty wiring, but George had recently had the house rewired and, honestly, the system was in perfect working condition. The family began to suspect foul play. Jenny, in particular, just couldn't accept that her children had died in the fire. She conducted personal experiments, burning chicken bones in her stove to test the theory. Even after hours of exposure to high heat, the bones remained. So how then could 5 bodies vanish completely? An expert from the local crematorium confirmed her suspicion. Human bones, even in house fires, are almost always partially recoverable. And yet, the basement of the Sodder home, all that remained, contained nothing. 2 years after the fire, George bulldozed over the site, covering it in dirt. The family created a memorial garden in the children's honor, but hope never died. Then came the sightings. A woman claimed she saw the missing Sodder children peering out of a car as the fire raged. A waitress in Charleston, West Virginia, said she served breakfast to 5 children the morning after the fire, accompanied by 2 suspicious-looking men. So, in 1968, a letter arrived addressed only to Jenny. Inside there was a photograph of a young man, probably around 30 years old, and a message that read, "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, eat lil boys. A 90132 or 35. The man in the photo, honestly, looked a lot like Louis Sodder. one of the missing children. The family decided to hire a private investigator to track down whoever sent the letter. The investigator left for Kentucky, and, well, was never heard from again. The Sodders ended up placing the photo on a billboard near their home, where it stayed for decades. Really, it became a haunting symbol of a mystery that was never solved. The words "What was their fate?" stared back at drivers on Route 16 for years, just a silent cry for answers. Was it a kidnapping? Some people actually believe the children were taken as part of a human trafficking operation. Others, well, they think it was retribution for George's political views, maybe a message from the Sicilian mafia or Mussolini sympathizers. And then, there's the idea that someone in town might have helped cover it all up. After all, the fire chief had claimed to have found a heart in the ashes. But when the family insisted on having it tested, it turned out to be beef liver, buried there intentionally. The Sodders spent the rest of their lives searching. They distributed flyers, followed leads, even traveled across the country based on tips, but the trail always went cold. George Sodder died in 1969. Jenny passed away in 1989. Until her final days, she wore black in mourning and never stopped believing her children were alive. Even now, the mystery endures. No remains were ever discovered. No confirmed sightings ever led to a reunion. The house is gone. The billboard is gone. But the questions remain. If the children died in the fire, where are their bones? If they didn't, where did they go? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, if they were taken, who took them, and why? The story of the Sodder children is one of the most chilling unsolved cases in American history, a blend of tragedy, conspiracy, and enduring hope. It's a tale that leaves us wondering, what really happened that Christmas night in 1945? And will we ever know the truth?